Hello and welcome everybody to my updated guide on how to speed level alternative characters in Grim Dawn. In this guide you will learn how to level alternative characters from level 1 to level 94 the same way as I do in my speed leveling videos that I did for various builds and classes on my channel. This method does not require you to have any mods installed whatsoever and can be also used on the Xbox version of this game, but you do need to have the entire Grim Dawn package, so the base game, Ashes of Mammoth and Forgotten Gods expansions, as well as the Crucible DLC. Note that you cannot use this method on your first character, as you will need to have pre-farmed gear that you need to have for this leveling method. If you're looking for guides on how to level your first character, feel free to check out my beginner leveling playlist with guides of various builds or my Grim Dawn Basics playlist. In this video I will first show you what benefits you can expect from the speed leveling method, which requirements are needed, so the needed items and how to get them, and then I will talk about the 6 parts of the actual speed leveling process: preparing your character in Crucible, collecting the lore notes in normal difficulty, getting level 33 in ultimate difficulty by reading the lore notes there and doing a couple of early quests, devotion hopping in normal difficulty for around about 30 devotion points and also farming your leveling MIs in normal difficulty, questing for experience and also to unlock all the factions up to Barrowholm in elite difficulty up to around level 70, and then last but not least questing for experience up to level 94 in ultimate difficulty. So what benefits can you expect from using a leveling method like this? First of all, you will be level 94, round about 4th icon in ultimate difficulty. You will be revered with most factions, apart from the ones from Forgotten Gods and the one from the Mammoth City. Your devotions will be maxed out, because we are getting lots of devotion points very early using this method. When it comes to time investment, you should usually expect something between 6 to 8 hours of time that you need to level these characters up to level 94. Which, I mean, compared to your first character, which took probably more than 50 hours or even more, is quite a lot of time saved here. My personal best runs were sub 5 hours. I did sub 5 hour runs on a couple of characters. 94, pretty much exactly 94. That was very close. Okay. So level 1 to 94 in 4 hours and 57 minutes. I would say my current average is around 6 hours, but yeah, if you're doing this for the first time, then you should expect this to take at least 8 hours. This method is, like pretty much all of my content here on YouTube, hardcore viable, as has been shown by pretty much every single character that I did level using this method. And last but not least, let's also answer the question, why level 94, why not level 100? Well, level 94 is basically the max level that you need to equip all the gear in Grim Dawn. There are a couple of very few level 95 items, but usually all the items that you're interested in are level 94, and for those you don't need to be anything higher than 94. So 94 is basically where you can equip all your endgame gear, and level 94 is what you have to push towards to play the character the same way as it would play in the endgame. Now, when it comes to the needed items and how to get them, first off, let's talk about the mandatory items, without which this method would not work at all. First off, we have the Savior's Merit. This one you can buy from Asgra in the Conclave, which is the first Forgotten Gods hub, after defeating Warden Creek on ultimate difficulty. So you need your first character to be able to push all the way to ultimate and to defeat Warden Creek, the boss of Act 1, and then you need to go to the Conclave, the Forgotten Gods, Act 7, talk to Asgra, buy some of those, Savior's Merits. I mean, you need 1 per character, 1 per alternative character, and then you can put those into your stash and then get them on your alternative character from the stash. Next up we have the experience potions, which you can buy from the Mammoth Resistance faction once you are revered with them. So your first character needs to be revered with Mammoth Resistance for you to be able to buy these experience potions and also to put them in your stash again. These will boost your experience gain by 100%, so that is quite noticeable. And the third, also mandatory item type here, would be the mandates. Now, the mandates you can buy from all factions once you're revered with them. So your first character basically needs to be revered with all the factions in the game that you would like your next character to also sign with. These you can, just like the Savior's Merit and the Experience Potions, buy from the Quartermasters of the factions and then put into your stash for your next characters to pick up. These mandates will boost your reputation gain on your next character by 150%, so you will not have to do any kind of bounties or any kind of that reputation grind that you had to do on your first character. Now, there are a couple of items which are technically not mandatory, but from now on I will basically act as if you have these items as well, because they are really good as well, and I would heavily suggest you to try to farm these items on your first character as well. Well, first of all, you just need some movement augments, like some level 1 movement augments, which you then can put on a like low level metal. For example, I'm using a yellow metal that just has like some additional aether resistance on top, and you can also put like a wardstone on top of those, and then you can put your movement augments on this as well. Alternatively, you can also keep movement augments in your shared stash, so that whenever you find like a metal upgrade, you can just like go back to your stash real quick and then use that metal augment on your new metal. Next we have the Leovinus' ring. This one, it's not really like that amazing, but it's so easy to get, and it's a level 10 ring, so you can basically use this almost right from the start as well, and it's super easy to get. I mean, you can switch it out later for a different ring, but for the start of the speed leveling process, you should have this ring. And this ring you get near the Temple of Azure Rift. There is like kind of a slightly hidden oasis where you, well, will have a 100% chance drop for a Leovinus' ring once per difficulty. So you just have to like go here twice in your first character, like I don't know, say on normal or an elite and ultimate, and then you will have it, right? And the last but not least, the Lokarr set. Now this one is a little bit harder to get, of course, because you need to defeat the Lokarr super boss, for which you can also check my guide on super bosses if you don't know how to even get to him or how to defeat him. However, all of my beginner builds, for example, are able to defeat Lokarr, so if you're following like any of them, you should be also able to defeat Lokarr. And he's out of the super bosses like the easiest one, I would say, or like one of the easiest two. And the Lokarr set itself does give you 40% additional experience, on top of like lots of health and DA, OA, resistances and so on. Basically the Lokarr set means that you do not have to worry about those 4 item slots like chest, head, shoulders and boots for the entirety of this leveling process anymore. Because you can, but if you play it well enough, use the Lokarr set all the way from level 1 to level 94. Now there are many questions about when should I remove the Lokarr set, is it not too scary to play it all the way to level 94, etc, right? If you're playing on softcore, you can just play it all the time, and well, if you die, then like maybe try to understand why you died and like try to not die the same time, like the same way again next time. Whenever you die, you will lose a, well, experience potion, so that does hurt a little bit to die on softcore as well, and if you're dying on hardcore, that obviously hurts even more. However, I've done like 1 to level 94 leveling with the Lokarr set so many times already, and it is fine once you're like getting used to the set. But there are also other people that prefer to take off the Lokarr set either after getting level 33 in ultimate, after around level 50-ish in elite, or when they move from elite over to ultimate at around level 70. So I would say if you do not want to use Lokarr set all the way to level 94, there are like around 3 breaking points usually when you can take it off and use another set, and that would either be like right at the start, basically after level 33, like once you start the devotion hopping in normal, or like after the devotion hopping in normal once you go to elite, or after elite once you go to ultimate, or whenever your other set that you would like to use is equipable. Say for example some of the non-mythical sets have a level requirement of something like 65 sometimes, or 72, so sometimes you would like to use the Lokarr set all the way until then, and then use the other like non-mythical set for leveling to get to level 94. I personally think that's kind of inefficient, because it also like can potentially clog up your inventory, and you're basically like crafting sometimes another entire set just for the leveling process, like just for the like remaining 20 or 25 levels. But yeah, there are alternatives for the Lokarr set for sure. Like for example, Praetorian set is a level 50 set that's pretty decent to use for leveling as well, but it is also slower because of no experience gain on top. Other optional gear would be the warrants that you get from defeating Nemesis bosses, like from Nemesis chests sometimes. These you can use as well on your like couple of next characters if you would like to also gain more infamy quicker on those characters. And that is mostly interesting only for Nemesis hunting though, and if you don't really care about Nemesis hunting that much, then they're kind of useless, I would say. Nemesis hunting has kind of fallen out of meta anyway. Like, nobody really does it anymore, because other endgame activities like farming Shadow Realm or farming Crucible or just doing dungeons is just like overall more efficient. The other item would be Wilhelm's Wondrous War Gem. Now this one is like the hardest item in the game to get almost. I mean, not quite, but very close, because you need to defeat the Crate super boss for this one multiple times to even have a chance to get this. So I'm just gonna like, you know, mention it here, but it is definitely not optional. I mean, not necessary for this kind of leveling at all. But if you have it, then use it, because it's obviously very good for leveling. And then you could also have a couple of other like decent leveling gear for your other slots in your stash, ready for your character to pick up at every couple of like level breakpoints. There are some that I would like to mention here, like for example the Alchemist's Belt for your belt slot, the Royal Exuberance set for like rings and amulet, the Bone Talisman, Mistborn Talisman, or any tier 1 relic for the relic slot. And then for slightly higher levels, level 35/level 50 craftable belts for your class that have like +1 all skills for your class, as well as the Leg Plates of Valor, level 40 Leg Plates of Valor, or empowered Leg Plates of Valor at level 75. The Runic Bracers gloves for level 50, empowered one for I think level 75, and mythical one for level 82. The blue Mistwalker leggings for level 20, and then pretty much any green gloves with decent resistances for level like 15, 20-ish, like for example Stonehide of the Mountain that I have here, or Turin's Grips, level 30 blue gloves as well, decent. And then also the Adornment of Valiance 4-piece set, which is also pretty much insane for level 65 and higher. As well as for the amulet slot, the Avarice of Indrionios, which just fixes basically every single resistance in the game on one slot. Alright, so how does it look like when you do this, when you start doing this, right? First of all, you create your character, of course, right? Let's do that here real quick. Create character. Then you're gonna go to the crucible, right? You choose the crucible here, accept, enter the crucible. Now we're inside the crucible, let's walk to our stash over here. And then here at the stash, we have ideally already like prepared everything that we want, right? We have the Savior's Merit, we put this one here. We put a couple of experience potions, like potions of clarity in our bag. Usually I would say around 8 to 10 is what you want to get here. Then we can right click on all of these man blades, right? You don't have to like put them in your stash really, but like your bags. There we go. And then we have a Lokarr set that you can equip at level 1. You can already see here as well that I put level 1 components on these, like Polished Emerald and the helmet and the chest, and Bristle Fur and boots and shoulders, for example. Then we're gonna take level 10 Leovinus' rings that have level 10 or lower components on them as well, like Corpse Dust here. And then you can also see that I have a level 20 like Leovinus ring pair here with like level 20 soul shards on them for vitality resistance. And also a different Lokarr set. I do actually have like at least 2 usually for speed leveling that have like higher level components on them, so that like once I'm done with the ultimate level 33 stuff, I can just switch my gear and I don't have to like mess around with like taking out components and putting new components on them every single time. So ideally you want 2 Lokarr sets and not only 1. On top of that, you always want to get some scrap, right? Some aether crystals, because you're gonna need these for the first quest. Then you want like, I don't know, yeah, the metal, right? For example, this level 14 metal, but the Vanish like movement augment already on it, right? You can see I have some more here if I want to like upgrade my metal with a different one later. We can also like choose some of these relics, for example. I don't know which one I'm gonna use here. And you can see I have like more metals here, and so on and so on. Then we want a belt, right? Like level 29 belt, for example. Alchemist belt. And then maybe some early game gloves like this one. Early game pants like this one. We can move over to like other pants later. We can like access the stash later. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna need for now. I do not have a Wilhelm's Wondrous War Gem right now on this account, but that's okay. If you have it, right, you can also equip that and use it right now. I don't have it, so I'm not gonna use like any metal here, I mean amulet here, but that's fine. And the weapon we're just gonna farm in the game then. We go back to the main menu, right? This is basically all you need to do here for preparation. Then you go to main campaign, normal difficulty, enter. Now what you wanna do is, you wanna equip your Lokarr set, of course. You wanna use your Savior's Merit. You do not want to use any potions of clarity whatsoever. You just wanna use the ability of the merit to open up the entire map, like to give you all the waypoints on the map. And we're gonna start collecting all the lore notes that you can get. There is a very nice cheat sheet that I'm gonna link down below here as well, which highlights I think all the lore notes that you should get as well. And I'll also put it here in the video right now, so that you can see it while I'm doing this. Now here in the Burbage Village there is not a lore note, but there is a quest item that you want to get. It is behind this door here, and then you need to like click on the lectern here, which can be very annoying sometimes. Usually this room is not this full, what the hell. There we go, right, click on the lectern, get the Cultist orders, and we're done here. Now the ones at Fort Icon you can get, because if you port here at level 1, the enemies won't spawn, right? The script for triggering the enemies only works when your level is higher than 1 basically. So as long as you don't read any lore note here, you won't get attacked at all. Now those spawn at the gates of Necropolis can be a little bit sketchy. You do not want to get this if there are like enemies in here, in this area. And yeah, you wanna be careful with like triggering these enemies here, otherwise you might just die, right? And that is basically it, right? We have all lore notes that we need here. Let's move over to the elite difficulty. Or rather, ultimate difficulty, of course, right? We're gonna move over to ultimate difficulty now at level 1 here. And you need to make sure to not attack anything. You need to get to the burial cave at level 1 without attacking anything, without dying. There are a couple of things you can do while you walk there. For example, there are a couple of more like lore notes you can get, like the one in Devil's Crossing itself. You can get this lore note up here from outside the actual prism, like that. Then you don't want to get hit by these guys too much, right? You can like click on this if you maybe want like a better weapon or whatever, right? You can also, if you, I mean, depending on like what you want to play, you should try to get one of the 3 like starting items here. Right, there is one in this one, Heavy's Greatsword, if you want to do something with a 2-hander, or like for which a 2-hander would be beneficial. Like Force Wave or Promise Strike, then you want to get this one. If you want to do like a Firecaster, for example, then you want to get the Francis gun over here. You can also get the lore note here. I mean, it's not really mandatory, but why not, right? If you are walking past this anyway, it's fine to get it. And if you want to do like a cold Nightblade or like cold caster, something like that, you can also get the Allman's Axe, which is in the house over here. I'm just gonna go through here to get all the lore notes here as well. And then we will proceed over the bridge, either here or here. This one was blocked this time, so now we go on this one. And then you want to get the portal here, right? You want to get the portal only. But then you want to go back and save Faldas, actually, who is over here, behind this door. Be careful that these scuttlers, or these Rift Scourge scuttlers, don't attack you. It's always beneficial for you when there are zombies there as well and they fight each other, so they're like kind of distracted. And now we port back to Burial Hill, right? Now we enter the cave. And now why do we want to be at level 1 when we enter the cave? Well, because when we enter the area of Burial Hill, then like basically the entire area already like spawns, the boss will spawn there, and he will be at a very, very low level, right? So you wanna get there first before you level up. So let's go down here, let's enter the cave. And then once we are inside the cave, we're gonna use our experience pot and start reading these lore notes. Don't read too many though. I mean, if you want to be like super efficient, right, you only read 10 of them, like until you're level 10 rather. Then you can equip the rings, and now you will get even more XP, right, for the remaining ones. So now we're like level 16, which means we can also use this metal. We can have the Vanish ability here, we can use a 2-hander. And for example, I don't know, say you're playing Shaman, right, you want to play Promise Strike for example. We can now play Promise Strike, right? And we can kill this boss using Promise Strike. I don't know how this is gonna be, or like how this is gonna feel like exactly. Let's do it just like this, right? There we go. Use the Mogdrong's Pact as well somewhere. Usually on the second bar, of course, like this. Yeah. And then we just have to kill the boss here, which is now a low level, right? Level 7, and we're level 16, so it's still ultimate difficulty, yes, but you should be able to kill this one, right? Rather easily. You can also start hiding all these like yellows and greens, I mean yellows and whites, right? Like you will never ever use these, even not while leveling probably. You can also get the like devotion point here. This is actually pretty important as well. And now we go back to Devil's Crossing, right? And now we have the scrap and the ethereal crystals as well, right? So we can first of all talk to John Bourbon. Right, we get some experience here, level 24. Now we talk to Kasparov, give him the crystals. We get a skill point and a couple of levels on top. We can also talk to Barnabas, that's when we have the scrap, right? Now with the scrap for Barnabas we get level 30. And yeah. I mean also maybe like talk to this guy, right? Get some physique here. Get the gloves. We saved Faldus, so we're gonna get another level from Faldus here. Now we picked up the cultist orders in normal, right? We picked up the cultist orders over here in Burvich Village, right? Now you don't have a quest regarding Direni yet, but if you drop the item and pick it up again in Ultimate, you will get the quest, right? And now you can talk to this guy. And you ideally don't wanna fight him, right? So just don't fight him. Level 32. And we can also talk to Sadina up here, and we should be level 33. So this is how you basically get level 33 in, I don't know, like 12 minutes. And now we can proceed in normal difficulty and do the devotion hopping, right? Now we're strong enough, we can like use these points however we want, right? Level 33 should usually be enough to basically like get you up to your like exclusive skill as well. You can spec this however you want, whatever class you're playing, right? And you're strong enough to move over to the normal difficulty. You can also equip this gear now, right? Equip the relic. There we go. We're like good to go into normal difficulty to do devotion hopping. So for devotion hopping on normal, you basically want to check the cheat sheet for the shrines, right? You can see the list of shrines down here. You can also check out the small scuffed pictures are made, and you can also check out the map on grimtools.com itself, right? You can like click on all of these shrines and you will like know where they exactly are once the map like starts loading. There we go. So yeah, grimtools.com, the cheat sheet and the like small map fragments where like marked the basically the shrines is what should carry you through this part. And I'm doing this all the way until around 30 devotion points-ish. You should not spend more than an hour doing this, so like 1 experience potion is all you would need here. It kind of depends on like what item you also want to farm. What I also would suggest you to do is to, yeah, like farm your monster frequents that are not blocked by the Lokarr set that you can use for your build, especially for damage. Say for example if you're playing Promise Strike, you wanna get an Ugnenborg Spark Thrower from the Ugnenborg, or if you're playing, I don't know, like Blitz for example, you want to get maybe like Bargel's Root weapon, you want to get Warden's Fortress Shield, and maybe a Wendigo Glare medal as well. So depending on your build, you might want to spend a little bit less or more time than normal here farming these MIs. What I would always suggest you as well is you do 1 run with the experience potion active, so you port around from like Rift Gate to Rift Gate, cleansing those shrines and farming all the mobs that you want to farm for the monster frequents once, and then you only reset the game once you've done like around 30 shrines, and then you can spend some additional time without an experience potion, just like farming the mob that you need to farm to get your item. For example, if you're playing a Blackwater Cocktail Demolitionist or a like Smite Skater Oathkeeper and you want Zarathuzalan's offhand from the Steps of Torment, then you probably will have to like reset the game a couple of times. So you make sure to only use like your experience potion in the first run, and after that it's probably a waste of experience potions to like use them for every single run after that. Also remember that there are shops that can sell monster frequents. Like for example, the hidden shop near the Bloodgrove Rift can sell you a couple of items like a bone crusher or like a spectral longsword, right? And the shops inside the dungeons can also sell you stuff, right? Like Steps of Torment shop has longswords and the Troll's Sky Shard bludgeons. Ancient Grove has the Spark Thrower, for example, or also the Bargle's Root. And Bastion of Chaos, for example, has the cleavers that you need for Force Wave. So it might be worth it, even with Lokarr set, even with your maybe like squishy-ish gear, to actually enter those dungeons, like to spend one skeleton key there once, because the shop will guarantee you a weapon and might, well, give you the weapon quicker compared to you just like trying to kill random mobs to get the item that you want. And I mean, you're on normal difficulty anyway, so you shouldn't die, right? Once you're done with this part with devotion hopping and you have the items that you want to use for your like elite and ultimate playthrough, you will jump over to elite. And here basically do almost all the quests, because quests are the best source of experience and reputation in this game. So I'm gonna like put together a small list here for you. You can check out the list also in the description below on like which quests to do in which act, and you can basically skip all the others. Now, when do you want to go from elite to ultimate difficulty? Basically, you want to be around level 70, you want to have killed Logarian, you want to have also unlocked the reputation, like the factions in the Coven and Bearholm, right? You want to have all the factions like unlocked, except for the Mammoth faction. You don't really need that one, or like it's gonna be quite a hassle to unlock this one. You only want to do this if you really need some item from this area for leveling anyway. Like if there's a monster frequent over here that you need to do, then you should probably do this on normal actually. And kind of the same thing-ish for Act 7, but I mean, you're gonna go here from normal difficulty anyway. But I mean, you can definitely like put together a decent-ish build at level 94 without having the factions from Forgotten Gods and from the Mammoth City up to Revered, and then basically at level 94 plus push through the both like the two expansion areas in Ultimate and farm their reputation there. Usually if you do a complete like questline playthrough of Mammoth as well as Forgotten Gods on Ultimate difficulty, just the one difficulty will give you enough reputation to basically give you Revered status with those factions anyway, so you don't have to like do any of the quests on normal or elite for those factions. Now, if you would like some extra tips for leveling, you can also check out my kind of older speed leveling videos, especially the second part where I talk about like different bosses that you have to encounter while doing this method and how to, well, defeat them, or like which kind of abilities you should be wary of when you do this kind of leveling method, especially with Lokarr set. And other than that, I mean, you can always ask me anything in the comments down below, and I hope you liked this video. And if you indeed liked this video, feel free to also subscribe and click that bell icon to get notifications, and also say hello to me on Twitch. Link is down below, where I live stream at least 3 times a week usually. And if you would like to support me on top of that, there is a Patreon link down below, and also you can become a YouTube member on my channel so that you can watch all of my videos without having any ads. I appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you around on the next video. Take care and happy speed leveling.